Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by telling you something I've learned after years of observing life, working in business, and coaching thousands of individuals just like you. Here it is, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. Let that settle in for a moment, because that little sentence, those few words, may be the turning point for your entire future. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But the truth is, this one idea is the reason why some people struggle year after year, while others seem to attract abundance, opportunity, and success almost effortlessly. I meet people all the time who say, "Jim, I want more money." And I say to them, that's fine, but money doesn't respond to wants. Money responds to value. And you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. I meet people who say, "Jim, I want a better relationship. I want love. I want recognition. I want freedom." And I ask them, what are you becoming? Because what you're becoming is far more important than what you want. You see, desire without discipline is a dream that never wakes up. Wishing won't make it so. You must become the kind of person who deserves what you desire. If you want to be wealthy and happy, learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This speech is not about chasing after things. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the things you desire. Like a magnet, not by chance, but by change. So I'm going to walk you 5 key life lessons that will help you understand and apply this principle. We're going to talk about the law of the mirror. You must see yourself clearly. The law of the seed, you must grow before you gain. The law of the marketplace, you attract what you bring. The law of the circle, your environment reflects you. The law of the ladder, you climb becoming better, not bitter. These lessons will not just inspire you. They will equip you. They'll give you tools. They'll give you perspective. They'll give you that quiet, confident strength that makes people say, there's something different about that person. And as always, I'll give you some analogies, some stories, and a few practical steps you can take today, not tomorrow. Because remember, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Now, if you're ready to move from wishful thinking to wise becoming, then let's begin this journey together. Because once you become more, you attract more. It's not magic. It's not a secret. It's a law. And it works for everyone willing to work on themselves. Are you ready? You can't perform consistently in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. Let's begin with one of the great truths of life and successful. You must see yourself clearly before you can become better. This is what I call the law of the mirror. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a young man who told me he wanted to be a millionaire. I said, that's great. That's a wonderful goal. But tell me, how do you see yourself right now? And he paused. He didn't really know. His eyes shifted a bit. I told him, if the picture in your mind is one of a broke, discouraged, low confidence person, that's what you'll continue to attract. Even if you want to be rich. A what? Because your inner picture determines your outer results. The mirror you carry inside shapes what shows up in your life. You don't become what you think you want. You become what you believe you are. You see, most people live their lives waiting for something outside of them to change. They say, if I get the promotion, I'll feel successful. If I find the right partner, I'll feel worthy. But it doesn't work that way. That's backwards. The mirror doesn't smile first. You do. You don't wait for the reflection to change. You change, and the reflection follows. This is why personal development is not just a nice idea. It's the foundation. It's the mirror cleaner. If your inner mirror is foggy, dirty, covered with doubt, fear, and guilt, it doesn't matter how bright the light of opportunity is. You won't see it clearly. You'll sabotage it. You'll turn away from it. Let me give you some practical advice to apply the law of the mirror in your life. 1. Take inventory of your identity. Write down how you currently see yourself in the key areas of your life career. Health, relationships, finances, character. Be honest, not harsh, not exaggerated, just honest. Because clarity is the first step to change. You can't grow from a fake starting point. 2. Speak better to yourself. Most people talk to themselves in a way they would never talk to a friend. You say things like, "I'm so dumb," or "I never follow through," or "Nothing good ever happens to me." And then you wonder why you don't feel confident. You must become your own encourager. Start small. Oh, I'm learning. I am capable. Not empty flattery, true direction. 3. Surround yourself with honest mirrors. Sometimes we need people in our lives who will tell us the truth with love. A good friend is a mirror that doesn't lie. Don't just look for people who make you feel good. Look for people who help you become good. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose your reflections wisely. 4. Align your actions with your identity. Here's the key. Every small action you take begins to shape your identity. When you wake up early, you're telling yourself, "I'm disciplined." When you keep a promise to yourself, you're saying, "I'm trustworthy." When you show up even when you don't feel like it, you're proving, "I'm committed." Little by little, action changes identity, and identity attracts results. Let me give you one of my favorite analogies here, the mirror and the sculptor. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble. Inside that marble is a beautiful statue, but only the sculptor can see it. He chips away a little each day, slowly, patiently. That's what you must do with your identity. The greatness is already inside you. You just have to chisel away what doesn't belong. And the mirror, that's your reflection during the process. It shows progress. It reveals gaps, but it also reflects the beauty as it begins to emerge. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work on your job, you'll make a living. If you work on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So here's the big question for you. What do you see when you look in the mirror of your life? Do you see potential? Do you see value? Do you see someone worth investing in? Because when you change how you see yourself, everything else begins to change too. And remember, you attract what you are, not what you want. So start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what you desire. Clean the mirror. See clearly. And keep growing. There's a law as old as time itself, older than business, older than technology, older than every success book on the shelf. It's the law of the seed. And this law says, quite simply, you must grow before you gain. You don't get apples the day you plant an apple seed. The first day you plant it, the ground looks the same. The second day, still nothing. Even a month later, maybe nothing breaks the surface. But deep underneath the soil, something is happening. The roots are spreading. The foundation is forming. Growth is taking place long before there's any sign of it. That's how life works. That's how you work. You see, we often want the fruit before we've earned the roots. We want the reward before the responsibility. We want the gain, but we haven't done the growing. And life just doesn't work like that. It never has. It never will. I remember a man once telling me he was frustrated that his life hadn't changed. He said, "Jim, I've been reading the books. I've been attending the seminars. I've been visualizing the future I want. But nothing's happening." So I asked him, "Tell me, how long have you been doing that?" He said, 3 weeks. Now don't get me wrong, that's a good start. But 3 weeks is just the seed. The soil hasn't even had time to breathe. The process hasn't had time to take root. And if you pull the seed up every few days to check it's growing, guess what? You'll kill the seed. The greatest gift you can give your goals is patience and persistence. The power is in the process. The bamboo tree, for example, takes 5 years before it breaks through the ground. 5 years of nothing. Just watering, tending, believing. But once it breaks through, it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. Now let me ask you, did it grow in 6 weeks? Of course not. It grew for 5 years. quietly, invisibly, steadily. And so will you if you respect the process. When I was just getting started, I wanted success fast. But my mentor, Earl Schaff, said to me, Jim, don't become a millionaire for the money. Become a millionaire for what it will make you to achieve it. That was the first time I understood what it meant to grow before you gain. Because the goal isn't just to have more, it's to become more. You don't attract success with desire alone. You attract it by becoming the kind of person who's worthy of that success. And that takes time. That takes discipline. That takes development. Character is a seed. Discipline is a seed. Consistency is a seed. And like all seeds, they must be planted, nourished, and protected. And the beautiful part is this: what you plant multiplies. You don't plant one kernel of corn and get one back. You get a whole stalk, a whole harvest. That's the miracle of the seed. But only if you stay in the process long enough to see it bloom. Some people give up on their goals because they don't see immediate results. But quitting doesn't speed things up. You can't harvest in spring, and you can't rush your own transformation. You see, the law of the seed is also the law of becoming. You attract not what you want, but what you are. So if you want more, become more. If you want to change your life, change your habits. If you want to attract success, cultivate character. That's the real work. That's the silent growth. I used to tell myself, every day I'm planting. Every conversation, every book, every decision, I'm planting something. And what a relief it is to realize that success is not one big event. It's a collection of small seeds planted daily. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're planting. Every time you wake up and take action on your dreams instead of hitting snooze, you're planting. Every time you stretch your comfort zone, push through fear, or tell the truth when it's easier to lie, you're planting. And one day, those seeds will sprout. You won't even recognize yourself. People will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile because you'll know it didn't happen overnight. It happened in silence. It happened underground. It happened when nobody was watching. So don't get discouraged when things are slow. Don't abandon the garden because it's still brown. Water it anyway. Tend to it anyway. Believe in the unseen growth. Because one day, the harvest will come. And when it does, you'll look back and realize the most important thing wasn't what you achieved. It was who you became in the process. Remember this, the law of the seed says you must grow before you gain. And the best time to start that growth. Today. Because every day you plant, you move closer to the life you're meant to live. The marketplace is honest. It doesn't lie. It doesn't cheat. It simply reflects what you bring to it. Not what you hope for. Not what you dream about, but what you actually bring to the table. I used to think that if I just wanted success badly enough, it would find me. But I learned life doesn't respond to wants. It responds to value. And the marketplace, whether it's your job, your business, or your relationships, pays for value. Nothing more, nothing less. Here's how I like to say it, Tug. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. That's the secret. You want more from the marketplace. You bring more to the marketplace. It's like a man who walks into the fireplace and says, give me heat and then I'll give you wood. No, the fireplace says, first the wood, then the heat. The man's got it backward. And many people do the same in life. They want the rewards first, but haven't earned them. They want applause before performance. But the law of the marketplace says you attract what you bring. When I was 25, I was broke. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I was waiting for life to improve on its own. I was waiting for the economy to change. I was waiting for someone to discover me. But no one came knocking. That's when my mentor, Mr. Schaff, looked me in the eyes and said something that shook Meg. Jim, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. I never forgot that. So I began to work on myself. Not just my job, but myself. I started investing in my mind, reading books, developing communication, discipline, attitude posture. And sure enough, the marketplace started responding. Not because the market got nicer, but because I got better. You see, the marketplace doesn't pay for time. It pays for value in time. If you make $10 an hour and someone else makes $100 an hour, the time is the same. The value isn't. That's why you must become a person of increasing value. The more valuable you become, the more you attract. Not just money, but opportunity, trust, admiration, relationships, and yes, freedom. It's not magic. It's not mystery. It's mechanics. Imagine a farmer walking into the field, asking the soil for a harvest. The soil says, "Did you plant anything?" "No," the farmer replies, "but I was hoping you'd give me something anyway." It sounds silly, doesn't it? And yet, many do just that in life. They show up with empty hands and expect full results. You can't reap what you haven't sown. And you can't attract what you haven't built within. The law of the marketplace teaches us to stop blaming and start building. Don't wait for life to hand you a better card. Play the one you've got and become so skilled at playing it that you turn the game in your favor. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. That's a powerful shift. You don't chase success. You attract it. And how do you attract it? By bringing something valuable, something rare, something that solves problems, meets needs, lifts others. And here's a bit of wisdom from my mentor. You should never forget it. If you want to be wealthy, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Working on your job gives you a living. Working on yourself gives you a fortune. So if you're not getting what you want right now, don't complain. Just get to work. Add more value. Speak more clearly. Solve bigger problems. Lift your standards. Sharpen your skills. Grow your mindset. The marketplace is always watching, always listening, always ready. But it won't reward the person who just wants more. It will reward the person who becomes more. I often tell young people, you don't get paid for showing up. You get paid for bringing something with you when you do. Bring solutions. Bring energy. Bring excellence. Bring initiative. And most of all, bring growth. So the next time you feel like life is unfair, like you're being overlooked or underpaid, ask yourself, what am I bringing? Am I giving enough value to be irreplaceable? Am I showing up with excellence or just showing up? Because the law of the marketplace is clear. You attract what you bring. And that, my friend, is fully within your control. One of the great discoveries I made early in my life is this: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, that may seem like a simple idea, but it has profound implications. Your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you forward or dragging you down. The law of the circle says your environment reflects you. The people around you, the conversations you entertain, the energy you absorb, the habits you witness. These are mirrors reflecting what you accept, what you expect, and ultimately, who you become. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was hanging around with a crowd that didn't challenge me. They were good people, funny, enjoyable, but they had no ambition, no urgency, no hunger. They weren't bad. They were just comfortable. And comfort is a silent killer of potential. One day, my mentor asked me, "Jim, what's your plan for growth?" I said, "I've been reading more." He smiled. "That's good. But tell me this, who do you spend your time with?" I told him. He paused, then said, "If they don't push you, they pull you. Choose wisely." That shook me. And I realized, as much as I cared about my circle, I needed to build a new one if I wanted to grow. If you want to fly with the eagles, I often say, when you can't keep scratching with the turkeys, you need to rise. And to rise, you need an environment that lifts, not limits you. You see, success is not just about skill or ambition. It's also about exposure. You become what you're consistently around. If you spend time with people who read, think, plan, act, you'll rise. If you spend time with people who gossip, delay, complain, and make excuses, guess what? That becomes your default. You've heard the story of the crab in the bucket, haven't you? one crab can escape easily. But place several in a bucket, and as one tries to climb out, the others pull it back in. That's the danger of an unsupportive environment. You can have great intention, but the circle will quietly sabotage your escape. Now, I'm not saying to abandon people. I'm saying evaluate the influence. Be kind to everyone, but be selective with who gets your time, your attention, your trust. I began to seek out mentors. People who had what I wanted, who lived with purpose, who challenged me to be better. I sat at their feet, listened to their wisdom, mirrored their disciplines. And my life began to change, not overnight, but gradually. Because when you change your circle, you change your center. Don't join an easy crowd, I like to say. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high, where the pressure is strong, where the standard lifts you. That's where transformation happens. Want to get fit? Hang around people who love health and movement. Want to get wealthy? Spend time with people who understand money, who invest, who think long-term. Want to build character? Stay close to those who live with integrity, discipline, and grace. Environment is powerful. It shapes your beliefs, your energy, even your self-talk. Think of your life like a garden. If you plant good seeds, but the soil is toxic, your growth will be stunted. But put those same seeds in rich, fertile ground, and they flourish. You must cultivate your environment just like you cultivate your mindset. That means clearing out weeds, negative voices, distractions, drama. And it means planning good things. Books, mentors, uplifting conversations, challenges that stretch you. Your personal philosophy is shaped by what you hear, who you're around, and what you allow in. Guard it well, because your environment is not just around you, it becomes inside you. Now, sometimes people say, but Jim, what if my family is the negative environment? I can't just walk away. And they're right, you don't have to walk away, but you can limit the influence. You can set boundaries. And more importantly, you can add positive voices to balance the scale. The key is not isolation. The key is intention. You must design your circle, not drift into it. Choose people who challenge you, who remind you of your goals, who call you up, not out. And remember this, as you grow, your circle may change. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. So ask yourself, who am I around? What do they have me thinking, saying, doing, becoming? And is that okay? Because the law of the circle is always in motion. It's either helping you or hindering you. It's either sharpening your vision or clouding it. And the beautiful thing, you can change your circle, and with it, change your trajectory. You don't have to change everything overnight, I say, but you do have to start. Today, your environment is a mirror. Clean it, shape it, fill it with growth, and it will reflect back a life you're proud to live. There's an invisible line that runs through every man and woman. It's not their talent, their education, or even their environment. It's their belief system. That quiet inner voice that says, this is who I am. This is what I'm worth. This is what I can do. That's the law of identity. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe. Years ago, I heard a man say, the world is not withholding from you. You are withholding from the world based on what you believe you deserve. And that struck me, because belief is the thermostat of your life. Not the thermometer, the thermostat. It doesn't just reflect your world. It sets it. You can't attract abundance while believing you're unworthy. You can't attract greatness while thinking you're small. The outside will never exceed the inside. And that's why your identity is the foundation of all change. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And the first change must always happen inside. Before the habits, before the strategies, before the results, you must see yourself differently. Let me tell you a story. I was a young man struggling, broke, no direction, just surviving. Then I met a mentor who didn't just teach me success. He saw something in me I hadn't yet seen in myself. He said, Jim, you've got it. You just don't know you've got it yet. That sentence planted a seed. And over time, it grew into a new identity. You see, The strongest force in human behavior is the desire to remain consistent with how we see ourselves. If you believe you're disorganized, you'll find ways to mess things up, even when they're going well. If you believe you're not good with money, you'll sabotage financial success. If you believe you're meant to struggle, you'll find a way to prove it true. It's not that your beliefs are right. It's that they're powerful. That's why I often say, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because when you get better, everything gets better. You must upgrade your identity if you want to upgrade your life. Now, how do we do that? You start by listening. What do you say to yourself when no one's listening? I'm not enough. I always mess things up. Who am I to try? Those little whispers are not harmless. They're building your future. You have to challenge those beliefs. Speak back to them, not with arrogance, but with truth. Say to yourself, I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm allowed to succeed. I am becoming. And if you can't say it confidently yet, say it until you can. Because identity is not fixed. It's forged. Brick by brick, thought by thought, choice by choice. Remember the classic story of the elephant tied with a rope? As a baby, it's chained, and no matter how hard it pulls, it can't break free. Eventually, it stops trying. Years later, now a massive, powerful elephant, it could break the rope easily. But it doesn't. Why? Because it still believes it can't. That's how most people live. They're powerful, capable, full of potential, but they've been tied to an old identity. And so they stay stuck. Not because they can't grow, but because they believe they can't. Don't let an old version of you run your future. Now, let me give you something practical. Every day affirm who you are becoming, not who you were. Write it down. Speak it out. I am a disciplined person. I am a person of integrity. I follow through. I create value. Because repetition rewires belief, identity doesn't shift with one grand event. It shifts with 1,000 small moments of belief, reinforced over time. And surround yourself with people who reflect the best version of you, not the old one. If they still see you as who you used to be, love them, but limit them. You must protect your becoming. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And becoming is an inside job. It's not about ego. It's about alignment. You begin to attract confidence when you carry confidence. You attract excellence when you embody excellence. You attract opportunity when you believe you deserve it. Let me say this plainly. The world does not reward your wants. It rewards your identity, your self-concept. That's the magnetic field of your life. So here's your call today. Rewrite your story. Let go of the labels. Step into the truth. Not the truth of your past, the truth of your potential. You're not stuck. You're simply between identities. Keep growing, keep affirming, keep becoming. Because who you think you are is exactly what the world will give back to you. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. And that wisdom begins the moment you believe are worth the life you dream about. You become what you believe. And belief is the first door to everything.